Hey everyone, it's me, Kirk Mastin at Mastin Labs, and today we're going to be talking about TriX 400, one of my all-time favorite black and white films, one of the most iconic black and white films ever made. And you can find it in the Adventure Everyday Pack from Mastin Labs. So let's dive in. We're going to show you the three-step edit. And in the three-step edit, we have three parts. You're going to apply the preset. Then you're going to adjust exposure. Often this means adjusting it up or down just a little bit to compensate for how the camera is exposing. And then lastly, you're going to be adjusting the white balance or tint. Usually, when I'm talking about the three-step workflow, I'm talking about a color preset where the white balance and tint really is about dialing in skin tone. But I'm going to show you a trick today about how you can use it for black and whites and getting really nice black and white images. So let's get started. Okay, so we've got this really cool image here. It's just nice and moody and interesting. And I'm going to start by applying TriX 400. And right off the bat, it already looks really cool. You can see with this preset, we've got the exact same grain that TriX has. The grain is baked into this preset because it is the heart and soul of a black and white film stock, and it's really important that it's applied when you apply the preset. Our color presets do not do this. We let you add the grain if you want later on, but with black and white, the grain is the soul of the look, so it's applied and it looks really nice. So step 2 is to adjust the exposure, and I want a slightly darker look to this image, so I'm going to pull the exposure down. And I'm really focusing on mid-tone density. So the mid-tones in this image are her skin, her hair, and her jewelry, and a little bit of the background here. And I'm bringing that down until I have enough, enough richness and tonality that I feel it kind of like anchors the center of the photo. So I just bring it down just a little bit. And then last but not least, I can adjust the white balance. I can adjust the temperature and tint. And normally with a color photo, you're going to be adjusting, whether the image is cool or warm or magenta or green. Now, this is black and white, so you're not seeing any of those colors. But black and white film reacts to color to give you the right tones. And every black and white film reacts to different colors differently. So by adjusting the temperature and tint, you can actually affect the way that the preset is applied to the image. And the same goes with shooting actual black and white film. You could put on a color, like a glass, like color filter on your lens when shooting actual black and white film, and it would affect the tonality of the final image due to the way that film reacts to color coming in through the lens. So if I wanted to, I could play with the temperature slider and just slide it up or down to make some adjustments. So as I slide down, interestingly enough, her skin becomes more luminous, and actually there's more shadow detail showing up around her eye. If I go back the other way, we don't have as much of an effect. And here's kind of the original white balance. I like kind of a darker kind of mid-tone area, so I'm going to leave it right there. But also tint can change that as well. So if I wanted to darken up the mid-tones just a little bit, just using the tint slider, I could just by shifting it towards green. And I just recommend just sliding these around. There's no like mathematical formula or anything to it. There's no like way that you have to do it every time. It just gives you some options in toning your image. And I'm going to bring down the green tint just a little bit because I want her skin tones to be darker against her clothing. I just think it looks really nice. It really makes the image pop. So there you go. There is your very basic TriX edit. It's so simple. Everything is baked right into the preset. The way TriX reacts to light in different lighting situations will reflect how the preset reacts. So really all you need to do is apply the preset, adjust exposure, and then adjust the white balance to your taste. All right, next image here. This image is really, it's a beautiful image. It's cool, it's interesting. There's a moment happening between them. but it looks so much better in black and white. It just instantly transports me to a different time and place, like, I don't know, like the 60s maybe, 50s or 60s. Here, check this out. So TriX, I applied the preset. I'm going to drop the exposure quite a bit. And I'm looking to build up the kind of the midtones here, increase the tonality, that, you know, make it a little bit darker, a little bit richer. So I bring that down. And now I can go to temperature and see how that affects it. So my goal is, whoops, I want to kind of balance their skin tone. Right about here actually looks good, bringing out a little more detail in the cheek. I'm trying to balance their skin tone with everything else in the environment. And this is totally an optional step. In fact, I don't normally teach this, but I thought it'd be really fun to show you the effect the temperature has on a black and white image. So I've kind of fiddled with temperature and tint. That looks good to me. There is no real right answer. Some people ask, like, what do I do with temperature and tint? Most of the time, I would say, let me reset it here. Most of the time, I would just adjust this until they look kind of in the ballpark, the right color temperature. But I like to take it a little bit further and use it to do small little tweaks to the image overall. So I've applied the preset, adjusted exposure, adjusted white balance. One little extra thing I could do is go into the tone profile section, which comes with every preset pack that we make, and it has specific tools to help you with different lighting situations. In this case, I want to see if I can bring out some more detail between her hair and the top of this car, because right now it's kind of just like flowing into blackness, like it's all kind of the same. I want to see if I can get some separation here. So I'm going to do shadow soft. So shadow soft kind of lifts up the shadows, creates that separation, and yeah, it looks really good. I could also do all soft, which not only lifts the shadows, but it also brings back detail in the highlights. So see how all soft looks. I think all soft looks fantastic. So we're going to leave it on all soft. And there you go. A really nice classic edit. One thing that can make this photo even better is just a simple crop to get rid of some of that bright sky and draw more attention to the couple inside. Yeah, is that too much? Maybe right about there. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, it looks beautiful. I love it. Black and white can just really change the feeling of an image so much. And it goes from being, you know, an interesting kind of modern moment on the left to being something really classic on the right. And the funny thing is that over my, I don't know, 25 years of being a photographer, of all the photography I've collected personally, 80% of it is black and white. There's something about black and white that is timeless, that people love. It stands the test of time. And it's something that you could print and frame and look at and enjoy forever. It just is such a good feeling, especially if it's printed on really thick, like rag paper and signed. It's a beautiful thing to give to people. So yeah, very nice, elegant edit. Okay, so this image is interesting because it's kind of color blocked. Like you've got, you know, kind of a gray-green background, red pants, darker skin, white t-shirt, or not t-shirt, button-down shirt. And in a way, it's very graphic. There's not a lot of like fine detail. Like there isn't a lot of stuff happening in it, so we can really focus on the tones. And I think this will look really good in black and white. So there's TriX. And I'm going to increase the exposure just a little bit. We're starting to get a little bit of separation between his head and the hat. But by adjusting temperature and tint, I think we can finesse that just a little bit more. So let's see. Like right about, there's kind of a sweet spot right there. And there we go. Right about there is nice. Yes, perfect. Okay. His shirt is a little bit too bright. It's just kind of popping off a little bit too much. So I'm going to use all soft to knock that down and also bring up some shadow detail. So I think right about there looks good. Actually, I'm going to bring down the exposure just a little bit. Right about there. I'm looking for just a really rich and luscious like black and white image with really, really good black points and white points and all of that wonderful tonality in between. And that's what I'm going for when I do any kind of black and white edit using TriX or Acros or Ilford Delta 3200 or any black and white film. I'm looking for that really nice tonality that I can stretch all the way from black to white. And to me, that makes a really nice print. So here is before and after. One small thing I would do is I would crop this to 4:3, which is more of a shape of like a magazine cover. And I just think it works better on vertical portraits. I don't want a lot of head space above the person. There's no point in having this huge space up there. So I like to kind of bring it down with a slightly more squarish crop. And 4:3 is one of my favorites. Totally optional, but I love it. All right, so there is the final finished TriX edit. Okay, this image is also really interesting. There's a lot more going on here, but I think there's going to be nice separation between the background and the people in this photo, and then between everybody. We're going to be able to really see each person very, very well. So there's TriX. I'm going to take one little extra step, and I'm going to do lens correction on. And what that does is that it removes the vignetting around the edges of the image. So a lot of lenses, when you shoot them wide open, like this one was shot at f1.4, when you shoot a lens wide open, you're using all of the glass, and the glass is usually thinner around the edges and thicker in the middle, and this creates this kind of shadow around the outside as well as some distortion. And the lens correction section in every pack that we make corrects this out to make the image like evenly lit and have no distortion. It's totally like a matter of taste, but I thought it would be nice to kind of get rid of some of that vignetting. So there is lens correction on, TriX 400. I like the overall tonality of it. I'm going to play with your slider. I'm going to see if I can get just a little more three-dimensional feeling with the skin. Yeah, like right about there looks really good. So before and after. And some people really love vignetting, so you could not correct it if you want and just leave it vignetted like that. Or what you could do is turn lens correction on, then go down to, let's see here, lens corrections, and add in the vignetting to taste. So this is how much was corrected out. So this is if lens correction was off, and this is with it on, and you can pick kind of a middle ground. And it's a really cool way to kind of burn the background in. So dodging and burning is where you make parts of the print lighter or darker in the darkroom, and you can do this, virtually and very cleanly by using the vignetting slider after doing lens correction. So I'm just going to bring it down a little bit to about halfway. That looks really good. That'd be a really nice wall print. Okay, let's see how this image will look with TriX. So I'm going to apply it. Already looks really cool. That was easy. I think I'm going to bring up the exposure just a little bit. And then I could do all soft. No, I like the tonality in the skin right now. It looks really good. So I'm not going to do that. Maybe highlight soft to bring in the sky. Okay, yeah, whoops. Not shadow hard, highlight soft. Now let's go back to TriX. I think that looks perfect. I could play with the temperature and tint sliders, but I already really love it. I mean, I guess I could if I wanted to. It's pretty much optimal how it was. Yeah, I think just leave it like that. One thing you can do, and this would be a very basic three-step edit, just like this. One thing you could do, and this isn't a tool that we make necessarily, but it's just a really good tool in Lightroom, is to use the neutral graduated, or the graduated neutral density filter. Ugh. And what that lets you do is, I'll show you. I can just bring down the exposure just a little bit here, and you can drag it on your image and spin and adjust this transition area here to bring back detail just in the sky. So the thicker that box is, the more gradual the transition is from light to dark. So, you know, if it's really thin, it's going to be really a sharp transition, and if it's bigger, it's going to be a lighter transition. I'm going to make it about a medium transition. And then once I have it placed, I can darken that sky behind them just a little bit. I don't want it to be like theatrically darkened. I really hate fake, like really fake looking skies. I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit like that. It's really important to have a light touch. I can't emphasize that enough. When you first get into editing, it can be fun to just be really extreme with everything, but it doesn't age well. So I recommend, if you use any tool, to just back it off a little bit, even once you think it's done. So there is a really nice black and white edit. And again, I may crop this 4:3 just to bring more detail or more attention into the people. And in fact, when I crop it like that, you can see one of the rule of thirds, points is right on her eye, which is nice, because now your eye can travel right up to her inside the frame, and it's not getting lost up in the sky. So there you go. All right, we'll do one more backlit image. So this image is very cool. Now that you know the 3-step workflow, I'm going to kind of jump around in it a little bit because it can be adjusted a little bit depending on the circumstances. On this image, I'm going to start with white balance because I can see it. It's too cool. And normally what I would do when I edit a black and white photo is I just kind of do a real quick gut check with the white balance, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but that is obviously too cool. So I'm just going to warm it up to something kind of normal and then start editing. So I did that. TriX 400, drop the exposure a little bit, and I'm gonna leave it because it looks fantastic. That looks really good. And backlit with a little bit of flare, that can look pretty awesome in black and white. I love it. So I hope that was helpful. It's a quick overview of TriX 400. It's a really easy black and white film to master, or at least digitally master. Hopefully it encourages you to go out and try actual TriX film as well, because it's a wonderful film. It can be pushed to, like, I don't know, 6400 if you wanted. It's very versatile. It's a really beautiful film. But if you have any more questions about it or anything else that we make, please join us in the Mastin Labs community on Facebook. Just search us, join us. It doesn't matter if you own anything that we make or not. We want to help you succeed and grow as a photographer. So there's no bad questions, and you can drop your images in there to be edited by us and the community members to see what Mastin Labs will look like on your work. Also, if you want to reach us directly, you can send us a DM by going to m.me/Mastin Labs, and we're happy to answer your questions anytime. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We have lots of good content coming out all the time. If you're seeing this in the community, well, you know the deal. We make stuff every single week, so we're so happy to bring you more stuff. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, I hope you're having a great day and happy editing.